What's up, guys? It's your boy WingsofRedemption, and I'm back and I'm bringing you some audio commentary. I know people love that to death, but I want to talk about growing up fatherless today. And this isn't a pity party. This is anything. I feel like I've grown up to be in the best case scenario that I can be. What a lot of people don't know is I kind of grew up without a father figure. I mean, for the most part, there were like guy figures in my life throughout my life. My mother was an attractive woman during her 20s and 30s and even 40s, and so she kind of went through boyfriends left and right. But my father, he didn't. He kind of left us when we were 2, and that would basically make me raised by women. And I have a woman-like tendencies about me all the time. Like, I cry very easily. Like a Bambi movie or something of that nature would get me to tears real quick, and I'm very sensitive and things. Like, I can't watch somebody like beat a puppy. I can't watch somebody, discipline their children. I remember vividly when I was in kindergarten that if you would yell at me, it would like almost hurt my feelings and make me want to cry, and like I just couldn't handle it. I couldn't handle people yelling at me, and I never understood that. I kind of got over it eventually, but for the most part, yelling at Jordy got him to cry. And it's just these woman-like tendencies. Even to this day, I have a really soft heart. And it's not like I don't know my father at all. It's not like he ran away to like Arizona or something. I actually went and started working with my father when I was 16 after school. He would do countertops, and I got to see my father firsthand at that point, which was pretty much, he was an okay guy, but he was a guy that kind of wasted his life, and it kind of molded me in a way that it wouldn't have if I didn't get to see and experience him at an older age than be, biased by, this is the person that's always been in my life. And I got to see and look and see what I would be if I would go down the route that he chose. One of the things that my father, one of the things that my mother always bragged about my father was he was incredibly smart. My dad is the type of guy that could pick up a guitar and play any song he heard by ear without knowing the chords. He's the type of guy that could look at a wall and tell you how long it is. He just had really good perception in that category, and that's where his power lied, at perception. But what the downfall of my father, and it even came into me as a trait, which I mainly took after my grandfather, my dad's dad, was addiction. Like, addiction is something I've dealt with my whole life. I'm not as bad as some people. There used to be this one guy I used to go to school with. His name was Tommy Galloway. And I remember the song. It was Godsmack's Voodoo. We would listen to it in the car, and he would stop driving and go back on the CD and listen to it again. There was like, after about the 13th time of doing this, I'm like, can we please listen to another song with the track, Tommy? And he's like, why? But Tommy was a little bit worse than me. But my big vice was eating and video games. Like, if I do anything, I do it to the extreme. If I find something enjoyable, I want to do it over and over and over again till, all the joy is wrapped out of it. And I kind of do the same thing with my YouTube channel in ways. I remember when the Winging It series with Mr. I Tryhard's video comes off, I remember this vividly, that it came off to a real good success, and I ended up doing like 5 more videos like right away, because I'm like, man, this is a really cool video to do, and people are digging it. Let's keep doing it. And like, the idea of like giving something a wait period for anticipation just does not sit with me at all. But like I said, my dad was a hardcore alcoholic, and seeing my dad and what he used to be in pictures and things like that, and seeing him now, it helped mold my life. Because at 16, I didn't really know what I was going to do in my life. I didn't know what kind of person I was going to be. I'm a much different person now than I was at 16, but I'm always growing up. Even at age 26, I have a lot of growing up to do. And even people that's been following me for the last 3.5 years will notice that I'm a different person now than I was in Modern Warfare 2. And that's just because I've grown as a person. And that's one thing you kind of get to see with YouTube commentators. You get to see that growth period. And I'm going to talk about my dad more in future videos, but one of the things that I'm glad that I never did pick up was my dad's ability to drink. And the reason I've never touched alcohol is because I've seen what it did to him, and I know I have the same personality he has. and he could have been so much better of a person if he would have never found it. But that same demon kind of manifests me in eating. But it's a battle that we all go through. Is there anything that your dad has ever done that kind of affects you that you can see inside yourself? Let me know. When you boy Wings of Redemption. If you could, please check out my Facebook. I always post cool pictures. I don't know, it's lame. I love you guys. Peace.
Growing up, what was your relationship with your father like, and how does it impact yours with your children? So, my dad worked a lot. I've seen my dad work 60 hours in 3 days, right? That's a lot. He also commuted, so we lived about 2 hours from where he worked, and that impacts things too. So even sometimes he would stay overnight at the office, and even when he didn't, he he would leave at 6 a.m. and come home at midnight, and while he was home that night, it was effectively not home in terms of the parenting work he was able to do. I didn't really connect with my dad and get close until I started working as I'll say junior accountant in his office. Once I started working with him, I really got to know him, and you get to see him with his peers, and he owned a small accounting firm, and the people that work for him, and all of a sudden, I knew my dad, right? Because I knew my dad, at the office, and that added a lot to the relationship. How did it impact me as a dad? Well, I look at it. There are some lessons learned in there. I try to be more available for my kids than that. I tried not to work 2 hours away from home and stuff. So yeah, there it is. My dad's a really good guy, but he was such a hard worker. His work was his passion, that he wasn't home all the time. So that's what that was like.
Here we go. Yeah, it's Redneck, and I got Daddy Redneck with me, guys. Go ahead on and say hello.
Well, that'd be me. Hey, how's everybody out there?
That'll be me, he says. Well, as you know, one of my videos I posted, I told you that my dad was a little sick. When I was needing some help, he was needing some help, and I got a lot of replies, a big response. I want to thank everybody because he's at home now. Like he's doing pretty good on the Skype video call, looking good, smelling good, feeling good, look like. So go ahead on that in. Tell us how you helped us today. How you feel?
Well, I'm doing a little better, and I want to thank everybody that put in a good word for me, or prayer, or just responded back, and was so nice to take a moment and say they hope I got to feeling better. I really appreciate it. I think there's a lot to that. When a lot of people get together on the same wavelength like that, there's a lot of power in that.
Yeah, that's something you don't see. It's a rarity, I think. You don't see, in this day and time, a lot of people, they don't take the time out of what they're doing to stop and just say, somebody always has it worse than me. And for somebody to take the time out and say, we're praying for your dad, be strong for your dad's gonna be strong, you be strong, and things gonna work out in the end, And a lot of people take that lightly, and I'm sure if you're like me, I don't take it lightly. When I see stuff like that, it really stops and makes me think, there are still good people left in this world.
Well, that's a lot of truth in that, and we get caught up in our own day-to-day situation, and it sounds like a small thing to take a moment, but it takes a lot to actually take a moment out of your time and interrupt your personal situation and say something for someone you don't even know, just a kind word or a little prayer. And for the person that's in that shape, that just means so much. It goes so far. It's so wonderful.
Yeah, and for the guys that are wondering, he had some tests come back. They look good. He's got some more testing to do here in the next couple of weeks, but as of right now, like I said, he's looking good on the Skype call, so I believe he's going to be all right.
Well, I don't know about the good-looking part, but they would Yeah, they told me about the test, and they wouldn't let me study for them, so I just had to take it like it was.
Yeah. And for y'all that don't know, my dad here, he grew up, if he don't mind talking about it, he's actually a Yankee. You know, I know somebody like, what? Yeah. Daddy Redneck, he grew up north. And for a lot of guys, there's been a lot of talk on, a lot of people talk about race and racism and how some people act the fool about it and some people are bigots and racist about things. And, you know, I'm not like that. The redneck is from account of my southern drawl. You know, I talk like this. And so a lot of times I carry on and play the part because I feel that's something that I'm at the point I'm comfortable with talking about race. And I think that people, if you have to laugh at some things, but sometimes you have to realize that some of the jokes you say do offend others, you know. And my dad growing up, you can tell him more about your situation as a child maybe and how it was for you growing up as a kid.
Well, sure. Yeah, I don't mind talking about it at all. As a matter of fact, I guess the way I grew up influenced me the rest of my life and still does, but sometimes people are a little too thin-skinned and they're afraid to laugh at themselves, you know?
Yeah.
But, and maybe sometimes they're offended because jokes are a little too close to home and seem offensive, but it's all in the way the thing is said. If it's meant to be offensive, you'll know. But if it's in good humor and good fun and you're not laughing at the person, laughing with them, you can tell that too, you know. But I don't know, it's an odd situation. I grew up in a very urban area right next to New York City, and grew up first 5 years with my granddad and grandma till my grandma passed away, and then my granddad and my uncle, whose wife passed away. So it was us three fellas, and they more or less raised me until I was 15. But it just happened to be in a part of town that was 99, probably 0.9% black. Well, it wasn't a big deal. As kids, you know, that's the school I went to. I was the only white child from 1st to 6th grade, but it didn't matter. There wasn't any, I mean, I was treated just like every other kid, and my close friends, it didn't matter what color they were or whatever, we shared everything. We did everything, stayed at each other's houses, ate off each other's tables, welcomed at each other's houses. Their moms and dad took me in when they didn't have to, and treated me just like one of their family.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, if a child doesn't develop those prejudices that you see sometimes, later in life when that child starts getting little age, they say, well, why is this person this way? You know, it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, it almost seems like when you see people that go out of their way to be mean and hateful and even racist, it kind of strikes you as this guy has a problem, you know, because growing up, you know, when I had parties or I had people over or we hung out, I mean, more times than not, there was almost as many blacks, if not more, than there was whites, you know. But that's just one of them things. Like today, most of the people on my contact list, probably 50-50 white and black. I mean, and there's some people though I think that do it just for the spotlight, you know.
There's a lot of misdirected anger out there.
Yeah.
People want to blame something or somebody or something or some group for their own failures or what they can't do or think they can't do, and it's real easy to blame someone else and you know, whether it's another nationality or race or group or religion. But you know, if we would take all that out of the equation and just look at the inner person, take time to see what kind of person it is, and not like them or dislike them because of their color, and just see what they're really all about. You just get a better feel for what human beings really are like, instead of just limiting yourself to, oh, I'm not going to like this person because they're from another country, or they don't eat the same kind of food I do, or they don't like the thing. Well, you know, expand your horizons and go out of your comfort zone a little bit and get to learn what other people like. You may see more things in common with that person than you realized you had.
Yeah, some people don't give people a chance off the bat. You know, they're closed-minded to things, and that'll hurt them later on in life. You know, that's one of them things that they'll have to deal with themselves as they get older, missing out. Do you have a story you might want to share? Something that would be it could be funny, it can be a dirty story, it could be anything. You know, something the crowd might like to hear.
Well,
why you think? I'll give you a moment to think about it. I'll share one of my childhood stories. The people talk about sports all the time, and this was actually a funny thing. We were playing on a good baseball team, and at the time I was a catcher. You know, and back then we just started wearing on our catcher's mask. We had these what they call throat protectors, because in the pros they used them because there was so many broken wooden bats. A lot of times there was risk of the splinters coming off hitting you in the throat. Well, we had the throat protectors for a different reason, to actually help you catchers from getting hit in the throat with a baseball. So we was playing a game, and my best friend in the world was pitching at the time, and I think it was like no balls and 2 strikes. And the kid, I called for a curveball, and he, you know, Josh, I ain't gonna say his last name, but Josh had an amazing curveball. So I called for the curveball 0-2, and it was an amazing curveball, but it broke so hard it actually bounced right there in front off the plate. The kid swung, you know, so I leaned forward, and when I leaned forward to block the ball off my chest, the throat guard swung way forward, and the ball bounced up under the throat guard and hit me in the Adam's apple. And I was like, ooh. So the kid took off running because it was strike 3, not caught. I got the ball, picked it up, threw him out at first base. And I remember like, oh, it's 2 outs, 2 outs. So I go to sit down. I'm like, man, I'm getting lightheaded. And all of a sudden, I go to fall back. I was sitting down like a catcher does, and I went to fall backwards, and I pushed forward to catch myself. And then I blacked out. So I just rolled over on my head, and here I am laying on my head on home plate, passed out. And then everybody thought, he's playing. Scott's such an idiot. He's all the time cutting up. But they didn't know I was passed out. And then the umpire, they was like, oh my God, he's passed out. So anyways, it was a long story short. It was a big panic. They called ambulances out on the field, and they took me to the hospital. And we was winning that game like 8-0 at the time. And so we was in the ER, and Mom was in there, and all of a sudden here comes the whole baseball team, and we're all tough guys. This was like 15 years old, 15, 16. And they all had on the black under eye stuff, you know, to help with the glare. And when they walked in, it looked like they were part of KISS or something, because they've been crying, and all that black stuff had ran down their face. I'm like, yo, you know, here I am. My first question is, yo, did we win? And they was like, no, they came back and beat us. And I was so pissed off. We lost that game. You know.
You shook them up.
Yeah. So anyway, that was one of the little crazy stories of mine as a kid, getting took to ER on the ambulance.
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a pretty good story, because that could have been where your throat closed up, and you might not have survived that.
Yeah. Now my brother Michael, they thought I was choking on sunflower seeds. So my brother, you know, he's at that game, and he comes over there and sticks his finger down my throat to try to clear anything out of my throat, and I actually threw up on me and him both because he gagged me.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was disgusting. So then, one of my friend's parents, he was like a nurse or something like that. And so he looked over, and my brother's like, his windpipe, my brother said his windpipe's blocked. We're going to have to do a tracheotomy on him. So he done pull out his pocket knife, and he had a pen, and they was about to cut a hole in my throat and put a big ink pen so I could breathe. And they're like, no. So he was about to do some redneck emergency services I didn't even need. Thank goodness the pros were there.
Thank goodness that ball didn't hit you below the belt.
Ooh, There is no telling what he would have done.
He's always wanting to cut somebody.
Oh, my
That
goodness.
could have had some problems, breathing from that too. But
Yeah.
keep the pocket knife away. Anyway, I shouldn't have said that, I guess. I'm sorry. I'm going to behave next time.
No, that's all right.
Should I say something about the bicycle ride?
Yeah. Go ahead on.
You know, I don't talk about that much because I found a few years after I did that, I'd tell people and you could tell they didn't believe me. So I stopped talking about it mostly.
Yeah. Tell it. Lay it on them.
Well, most people I work with don't know about the bicycle ride, the big ride. You know, when I was a kid, we didn't have a car most of the time. Most people didn't up there. It was a luxury, but it was also a problem. Nowhere to park and whatnot. And you had public transportation. As a kid, I grew up riding the subways and the buses around New York City and rambling around New York by myself and everything. That's a whole nother story. Never had any problem. But so I rode a bicycle everywhere. One summer, I was 14. I decided to ride my bicycle up to Boston. And so I did. Took me a few days, and I used to ride my bicycle all over the place. Went up there and came back down, went out on Cape Cod for about a week, and ran into people I knew out there, actually, for a few days. Long story short, it worked out so well. The next year, I planned on trying to ride my bicycle across the country. I was 15. I just turned 15. So the day after school was out, I had just turned 15 in May. I left, I think, the first day or two of June and took off with my little pack and sleeping stuff and a few dollars and a camera. And here I went and actually made it all the way across the country. I was pretty well wore out, saw a lot of things, met a lot of people, and I got to Lake Mead, and it was so hot.
Now, where is Lake Mead at?
Well, it's up not too far from Las Vegas. I went across the old Highway 60, Route 66 when I got to it, somewhere down around Amarillo, Texas, I think.
Yeah.
But worked my way across the country on the bike and took a lot of little side trips, went up into the Grand Canyon, saw a lot of different things. But when I got to Lake Mead, I stayed there for about 3 days because it was so hot. The last leg going across the desert, I kept listening on the radio, and it was 119 degrees over at Needles, California, 8 o'clock in the morning. And I didn't think I'd be able to, I was going to do it at night, the last leg across the desert. And I didn't think I could do it in one night. I was by myself, and I was really worn out. And I met a couple and with their children, and they talked me into riding with them from Lake Mead there. That's right at Hoover Dam, Boulder Dam, whatever you call it. I rode with them in their camper across the desert into California, then started riding again. But that was the only part I didn't ride, and I always regretted that. But it was pretty dangerous because by myself at that age, it was so hot going across the desert. I couldn't have done it in the daytime, and I don't think I could have done it in one night. So I guess maybe I should have rested up and tried it, but I regretted not doing that. Anyway, long story short, I got out to California. Went down to San Jose to see my uncle. He had a place down there, and I thought I was going to do this California thing for a while. Learn how to surf, and go to the ocean and hang out. And I'd been listening to the Beach Boys songs and everything, and I thought
he was ready.
Yeah. Well, guess what? I got a little reality check. I got there. Apricots were coming in, getting overripe, and we'd get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go feed horses and fight with the horses until about 6 o'clock and let them bite me. Horses bite really hard, and they want to squish you against the side of the stall. I learned a lot about how they can hurt you. Didn't learn much about taking care of them. Anyway, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, take care of horses, then go pick apricots and work in the apricot orchard all day just about. And then in the evening, you put everything up and you fix everything that tore up during the day till about 10, 11 o'clock at night, and then you go right to sleep, and next thing you know, you're waking up at 4 o'clock and starting over.
Yeah.
In about 2 weeks of that, I pretty much had all of California that I wanted. And we did have a lot of fun, though. We got to ride horses, went to Big Basin, took horses over there and rode them all through the giant redwoods, went down to the ocean and rode horses, and and went up into San Francisco and looked around. But it was a lot more work than I thought. Riding a bicycle was tough. But I'm going to tell you, working on that place there and picking apricots and taking care of horses and all that farm work, that was tougher than riding the bicycle.
Now, you remember what year this was?
That was 1967.
1967.
Yes, indeed. That was a Swin Traveler. I think it was an 18-speed bike. And I left it with my cousin Johnny out there. And I found out he passed away from diabetes, complications of diabetes, probably in his early 30s. So I never got a chance to really get to know him after that. But he was one of 6 children, and I would have been the oldest one. My Uncle John wanted me to stay. And I thought, this may be a little more work than I'm ready for. I was a little bit lazy at that point.
As we are.
But I got to where I wouldn't tell people. Because, you tell them something like that, and the first thing they say, you rode a bicycle by yourself when you was 15 years old? Okay, right. And, you can just tell people don't believe you. So, over the years, I really never did relate that story to anyone. But
that's a nice little story. Well, we're closing in on about the 20-minute mark, so we're about to cut it short because I got to put some gameplay with it and let everybody watch something while they hear me and you babble on. But I think we're gonna have to do this more often. Have the regular series with you. We sit around and shoot the bull,
Yeah, that's nice of you to do that. Have me on there.
A lot of people like it. All right, I'm gonna stop recording. It's your boy Redneck.
Okay, so the controller that I'm used to had 2 buttons on it.
Was that Atari or Nintendo?
Yeah, Atari.
Okay. No, Atari just had 1 button. It was just a joystick with an orange button.
That's true.
As soon as you see someone, just start shooting. Okay, you're going in the right direction. That's okay. There's nothing to be discouraged about. Gotta walk. Yeah, there you go. Anytime you see little skulls like that, that means that one of your teammates has died over there. And that's a bad guy. That's a bad guy! No, down! If you go around that corner to your right, he's gonna be over there. To your right. Right, keep going right. If you go out that doorway and look to your right now, that's a helicopter in the air and it will fire upon you. So just be wary of that. I feel like I literally just told you about that helicopter.
Yeah. Okay.
So when there's a helicopter in the sky, you can kind of just go inside and avoid it. Those are teammates. You don't want to shoot them. Those are friendlies.
This guy here?
Yep. If he's got a green over his head, that means he's friendly. That's just fire. You can't do anything about that. Okay. Buddy, come here. See, that's the edge of the map. You can't walk out there. Okay.
For what?
The map's over and a new one's gonna start.
Oh.
Would you go left? Would you go through the door? What would you do? You'd walk into a wall, or you'd go through the door. All right, now. Okay. So right now, you see where it says. There you go. You see where it says B on the map?
Where?
See where it says B?
B.
Yeah, see B on the map there? It's in white. See that big B on the right over there?
Yeah.
You want to go get that flag. So you don't even have to kill anybody. The point of this game type is to go stand on that flag until you capture it, and then once you've captured it, you want to hang on to it. So you're just walking into things right now. Okay, that works too. Now go that way. There's a lot. Okay, behind you. You're gonna get shot. He's gonna be coming from the right there. Up. You're just looking at the ground. Shoot him! Shoot! You had the right idea. So if you go to the right again, and there's gonna be more guys. Yeah, go down there. And then go to the right again. Follow your teammates. Alright, now go to the left. There you go. And now you want to go for that B flag. So go left. Go get on that flag. Go stand on that flag. Okay, now just stand there. And hope that you don't get killed. Okay. Oh, you almost had it.
You don't need to stand on it. I don't get it.
You stand on it until that meter fills all the way up, and then you control that flag, and you get points for it. That's the point of the game, or this game type that you're playing. So you just keep going to the B flag and standing on it until you get it. You don't even, okay, there's a dude shooting at you right over there. He's on the ground. That's okay, teammate got him. So now go to the B flag again. And when you get to the B flag, actually right now, press in and hold the right thumbstick. Press it in. There you go. Now you can crawl. You can crawl to the B flag. So if you, yep, there you go. Just crawl in that direction. Oh shit.
It just got blown up, right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, okay.
You didn't have the flak jacket perks though.
So pushing in.
Pushing in the right analog stick will make you go prone. There's going to be a guy on the C flag. Yep, he's taking your flag right now. So shoot him. Shoot! Fire! Hold down the trigger. Shoot! You were looking right at it.
I'm not getting the trigger and the aiming right here.
Well, you don't say.
When we go into a situation, or if I went into a situation, I would always know that either I was watching somebody else's back or they were watching mine. And for that reason, you don't have situations like even being shot from the air, from a helicopter. Those are all things that are brought to your attention right away, mostly because you hear it and you know that it's going on, but at the same time, the other guy recognizes all the dangers. Like if somebody's shooting from a sniping position behind you, they're going to take action before you will.
So the next time we play this game, I'll have to bring my controller, and then I'll get your back, and you just try and get one kill. Boom.
Yeah.
Hey, SeriousDrama here with the gameplay of Domination on the map Firing Range. Not a ground war domination, just a 6v6 domination. And kind of an interesting backstory to this particular match is, actually I played this on the night that Gears of War 3 was released. So I had a couple of friends who I usually play with were at the release and they weren't able to play. So I decided to jump on and play by myself, and I had a pretty good game, as you'll probably see. But this commentary is not about the gameplay. It is about the day that I discovered my father wasn't Superman. And when I say Superman, I don't mean the cartoon character or television character or superhero. I just meant when I discovered my dad had things that he wasn't very good at. And as you know, when you're a young kid, you want to be just like your parents. When you're a teenager, you want to be nothing like your parents. And then ultimately, when you're an adult, you end up just like your parents. So I guess to kind of lead up to it, you know, when I was a child, I thought my dad was everything. He was, to me, the strongest man in the world, the smartest man in the world. I remember he used to kind of make a muscle and I would hang off of his arm. I remember he would help me with my homework in grade school, and it seemed like he knew everything. He was morally just a perfect human being, in the sense where he would pray every day before work and before every meal. I never heard him say a curse word in my whole life. And to me, he was just the perfect human being. It seemed as though he was good at everything. Except sports. He wasn't very athletic. In our family dynamic, it was a little different than most, I would think. In our family, my mother was actually the athlete. I mean, she was a tremendous athlete, actually. She could probably run faster than me, kick a ball farther than me, and throw harder than me. Up until the time I was about 12 years old, I would say. She was really, really a good athlete. Where my dad, on the other hand, was a kind of a big, burly guy. He was about 6'2" and about 260 with a nice size round belly on him. So he was not the athletic type at all. And but I didn't really ever know that. And at least, I don't know. I guess I didn't know it because the situation that I'm about to tell you really shocked me. So I went to one of my brother's baseball games. It was a little league game. He was about 11 years old. And my dad, you know, was never a coach or anything for obvious reasons, but he always was the scorekeeper because he always wanted to be there and be part of the team in some sense to show his support to us. So the coach of the team, one of the kids on my brother's team showed up late. So the coach of the team asked my father to warm this kid up. So I was on the bleachers and I'm watching my dad grab a baseball glove kind of awkwardly. And he gets, you know, about 40 to 50 feet away from the kid and they start playing catch. And I looked and I could tell it wasn't an easy thing for my father to do. He was having a rough time with it. Like the kid, even though he was young, he was throwing the ball pretty hard. And my dad was, I guess, the type that, you know those people where if you throw the ball directly at them, they'll catch it. But if it's anywhere offline, they're just not going to be able to catch it. And that was my father. So the kid kept on intentionally, and I knew it was intentionally throwing the ball over my father's head or throwing it past him, you know, to the right or to the left. And as my father would go run after the ball, he would laugh at my dad because, you know, my dad was a big man. And oftentimes when somebody's overweight, they have an awkward way of running. And he did that repeatedly, and my dad would run after the ball and start playing catch again. My dad's too kind of a person to ever say anything, call the kid a brat or anything like that. But I made a mental note of it. And I was hurt for my father, and I was mad. I was really mad. It was the first time I ever saw my father not be good at something. And it bothered me. So anyway, so the next week, the same kid is late again to the game. And the coach once again asked my father to play catch with the kid and warm him up. As I saw my dad go into the dugout to grab a glove, I stopped my father and said, "Hey, Dad, let me play catch with him." And I guess I should tell you this, is that I'm a really good athlete. Have always been, especially when it comes to arm strength. I've never been on any baseball team at any point in my life, and I played baseball my whole life, where I've run across anybody who had a stronger arm than I did. I'm not saying that to brag. It kind of supports the story I'm about to say. And I could probably throw the ball, I don't know. I mean, guys may think I'm exaggerating, but I don't think I am. Probably in the 90s, low 90s, somewhere around there. Nobody ever wanted to play catch with me growing up in Little League. Let me put it to you that way. I always had to play catch with the coaches. But anyway, okay. So I said, "Dad, let me play catch with him." I had every intention of teaching this kid a lesson. Of getting the ball and throwing it so hard that this kid was not going to have time to move before it whacked him right in the chest. I grabbed the glove, grabbed the ball, did one soft toss, played catch with the kid, and then wound up and was going to unleash a ferocious fastball at this kid. I knew he was going to be able to catch it. And as I'm doing so, all of a sudden, as I'm about to release the ball, I hear my father say, "Randy, no!" So I released it a little bit early. It went over the kid's head. The kid had a look of complete fright in his eyes. He went running after the ball, got it, walked it back to me, handed it to me. And as he handed it to me, he said he was warmed up, of course. As he handed it to me, I said, "You better not throw the ball over my father's head or to the right or to the left ever again. Because I know you were doing it on purpose. And I will play catch with you every single day and warm you up if I see that happen again." And he's okay, it won't happen again. And he was 2 years younger than me. I was probably picking on him and being a bully. But it really bothered me. Really, really bothered me. And that was the first time I ever noticed that my dad wasn't the perfect human being or the perfect specimen of a man, per se. And, but once again, my dad's a beautiful human being because he continued to play catch and he stopped me from doing what I wanted to do, which wasn't right. This has been Serious Drama. Be kind, be good, be safe. I'm out.
What is up, mortals? I'm the Attacker, and I'm super freaking excited today. I managed to brainwash my father into coming onto my channel, doing a sort of interview type deal to get his thoughts and his views on the current YouTube situation. So without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to half of the reason why I'm here on this planet today. My father.
Hi guys, my name is Kevin, and Laine tricked me into coming here with a free meal, and it worked. Anyways, I want to thank Laine for asking me to do this, even though I'm the one doing him a favor. And I just ask you all to be patient with me because I'm a YouTube newbie.
Now, Dad, as you know, I have this whole persona via the interwebs. I go by the alias of I'm the Attack. Is there any special name you want to go by? K-Dog99, Harley Davidson Rider 420, anything in particular that strikes your interest?
How about Senior Attack?
Senor Attack? Are we Mexican? Is there something that you're not telling me, Dad? Like, is Mom not my real mother?
Shut up.
Now, Dad, I'm gonna ask you a question here, and let's be honest. I was talking to Grandma the other day, and she'd asked me how the porn business was going. And by the porn business, she obviously was referring to my YouTube channel. How do you feel about some of the content that I post on a regular basis?
Did Nana say that? Well, it's not something I know much about, but what happened to the good old days of Pac-Man and Pong? That's what I grew up with. Now you kids are waiting up till 2 in the morning to get some new Call of Duty game outside of Walmart. What the hell is that shit?
It's dedication to the art, Dad. So I know that when I originally started my channel, I was posting these goofy song parodies and, short film videos with friends, and those were kind of cool. I mean, I used to bring those to you loud and proud and force you to watch them. Then one day I kind of switched over to just Call of Duty and this girl talk I'm currently doing. And I mean, at first it was kind of tame. You're probably running through my channel being like, "Oh, my first kiss, my first dance, what a goof." And then you scrolled up for the first time having sex, my first gay experience, and did you just feel like, what in the hell, my son's one of them gosh dang queer-o-sexuals. At this particular moment, Dad, can you give us a take on what was going through your mind?
Well, that's a really good question, Laine, and well, you know what? First I was a little confused, and to be quite honest with you, I was thinking, who watches this shit anyway? But then I said to myself, who is he harming? He enjoys doing it, he appears to be good at it, and it keeps him off the street so he doesn't hurt anyone out there. Just as long as he keeps wearing his life jacket and a rape whistle, I'm fine with it.
So basically, my content isn't quite your cup of tea. Now, I know you're pretty down with the scene hit music of our times, rocking that serious satellite hits one on the regular when you're driving home from work, some Katy Perry, maybe some LMFAO. Kind of established what music you like, Dad, but what kind of videos do you watch on YouTube?
Yeah, well, I'm a top 40s kind of guy, and as for YouTube videos, well, I used to watch Kimbo Slice's Backyard Brawls till he got wasted in the UFC.
I used to go through the search history on the computer, and it was like backyard fights, like down the page, just screaming down the page. So that gives you an idea of how my dad is. But I got one final question to ask you, Dad. Do you feel bad at all about those times you came down at 2, 3, 4 a.m. wearing that robe? And you know that robe that I'm talking about, the one that doesn't quite perform as advertised in the whole coverage area, and getting like extremely pissed off at me for gaming into the wee hours of the night. And that time that you threw a chair at my friend Steve.
I never threw a chair at Steve, did I?
You literally turned around and you hurled a chair, and he had to make some sort of dive bomb drop shot maneuver to dodge the chair.
Well, it was 4 a.m., Laine, and you tell me what most dads would do at that time of the morning. I guess it is kind of cool what you're doing, but I won't apologize, and sure as hell don't regret it. It's 4 a.m. now. Go to sleep, you loser.
Thanks for the apology, Dad. It meant a lot. Queer. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. I want to thank my dad for being an absolute legend coming onto my channel. And maybe one day we'll see a channel named Old Man Attack. Maybe Old Man Attack, not Senor Attack. We can kind of kick the whole Mexican thing. But maybe we'll see Old Man Attack emerging from the depths of YouTube one day.
You're such a fag, Laine. But thanks for having me. You owe me your life times 2 now. All I want to ask is that you guys leave this video a favorite, give it a thumbs up, because I want my son to send me to a half-decent nursing home and support me when I retire.
You know that's never going to happen. But, alright, you heard what he said, guys. Make sure to add this video to your favorites and give it a thumbs up. Show us some love for this family affair. And maybe next month I can convince my mom to come on. Alright, thank you guys so much for listening. I'm The Attack, and I'm out.
Laine, you are no longer my son.
Hey guys, it's your boy Wings of Redemption, and I'm bringing some Olympia gameplay. This is the gun voted most likely people wanted to see a TDM of. It's a mercenary TDM with the Olympia. The final score isn't the greatest, but it's the best I could get in short notice. I've been recently watching a lot of Beyond Scared Straight. And for those who don't know what that is, Beyond Scared Straight is a TV show. I think the Arts and Entertainment Channel put it out. It's about it's basically like prisons have these programs that they take kids to try to scare them out of prison. It's been around since at least the 80s, as far as I know, probably even the 70s. And they basically take kids that are troubled or who just keep messing up over and over, repeat offenders, juvenile, defenders, and try to scare them straight, like scare them to be outstanding member of society. Most of the time it doesn't work. A lot of the time, it's just entertaining to watch. But since I've took the role of a stepfather, it makes me wonder: are the kids that I'm raising going to be like this? Are these a product of bad raising, or is this inbred in them? Because I'm currently the not really the stepfather yet. I'm more of like an acting stepfather. I'm not like I don't have the official title yet, but the fact is, like, it's hard to understand kids at times. Like take for example, the kid's name is Gabriel, and he is 3 turning 4, and he has a bathroom problem. He is potty trained, but he would not do poop in the toilet. He'll do it sometimes. He'll do it when he feels like it, but he won't do it all the time. Like for example, we had to clean him, and then 5 minutes later, when we sit him back down to eat dinner, he's doing it again. He told us he didn't have to use the toilet when we got him off of there, and as soon as he gets back to the table with the rest of the kids, he's pooping again. It's like, seriously? And then this morning we wake up, he pooped his pants again. And so, and just the reason, just before Shalene left to go, he did it again. And I don't believe in hitting a child. It's just like a dog. I figure if you hit a child, just like if you hit a dog, it will just go out of its way to do it behind your back instead of doing it in front of you, and you're not addressing the real problem. So I use timeouts, early bedtimes, taking TV away, taking privileges away, stuff they enjoy all the time, and I just try to enforce it like that. Well, I've took everything from this kid short of like giving him bread and water. And I've actually started giving him water, like his sister. She'll get like a fruit barrel or something, and he'll get a bottle of water. Try to give him a really, really bland dinner. I haven't got to the part where I'm giving him a bland dinner yet because I don't know about that step. That's something I'm unsure of. As being a new parent, am I allowed to give bland dinners as punishment, or do I need to just go ahead and give the healthy thing? But the kid just doesn't listen. I'll sit there and I'll talk to him. I'll sit after I put him in timeout. I'll sit there and talk to him about what he did, and he'll say yes sir, no sir, and then 5 minutes later do it again. It's not that it's frustrating. It's puzzling. I'm not getting frustrated with him. It's just like, why does he fell in the grass? Does he not understand? Am I not explaining it correctly? Am I over explaining it? I don't know. I just don't want him to be the only kid in kindergarten next year in pull-ups. Because I know it'll be embarrassing. It'll embarrass him more than me, but it looks like it's filled as me as a part of a parental figure. What do you guys think?
Hello everybody, welcome to another edition of High School Stories. I was looking over the comments on my last video and you guys requested that I do more of these. You guys are absolutely loving them, so I'm going to give you more high school stories. This one's going to take place the summer of my junior year, and it's going to involve my dad because he's a goofball just like myself and I love him. So each and every year, my mom, my dad, myself, sometimes my uncles, and a third wheel here and there, a fourth wheel, I don't know, 4 wheels on a bus, and they go round and round, I'm not sure, but my family and friends would go up to this island that my grandma had owned, and it was really nice to get out the city and experience fresh air and not worrying about the ghetto or anything like that, and I absolutely loved it. It was my favorite time of the year. We would go once a week, and we didn't have all the money in the world to spend. We would save up all year for this vacation, and we would live a little bit. And I loved that time, so we would have to improvise sometimes. And this was a blast. I absolutely loved doing this. So we would see all these richer folks have these speed boats and whatnot, and they would be skiing, water tubing, whatever it may be. And I always wanted to do that. I wanted to get on a jet ski, but we couldn't afford it. So what my dad did, we had this little tin boat and a motor, and and this little plastic inflatable boat that my mom got from Marlboro points, like cutting these little barcodes off of cigarettes. And it was a cool boat. It was an awesome boat. It was a blow-up paddle boat. I went to the island back and forth many times on that. I had a good time with that boat. And anyways, that sounded really weird. What do you call people who have sexual intercourse with boats? Oh, I don't even want to think about it. I'm on a boat. I don't know. That just came into my head, and I'm thinking bad things right now. So anyways, we tied it to the back of this tin boat with the motor on it, and I wanted to kind of wakeboard. So that's what my dad was doing. He was pulling me like some redneck, I guess you want to call it, redneck skiing or whatever it may be. So I'm on it, I'm in it, and it's kind of fun, but I want to step up. After a while it gets a little boring, so I wanted to step it up a little bit from just riding in the back. So what I decided to do, I dolphin dived off of it while the boat was running, and then that was cool. So I couldn't really get back into the boat. It was really hard to climb into it. So what I ended up doing was just hanging on to this handle that was on the inflatable boat, and then I just told my dad to pull me. So I was like all the way in the water, one hand on the boat, just surfing, pretty much. Not surfing, I wasn't on top of the water, but I was just like in the water, and it was cool. It was like the water and the weeds and stuff was going past my legs, and it was cool to be in the water and going fast. But then my shorts start to fall off. So I had to use one of my hands to hold on for my dear life, because they were gonna fly off. They were gonna go into the water. They weren't tied too good to my waist, and I'm pretty sure some people would have liked that, me running around naked. But I end up almost losing my shorts, and I'm like, Dad, stop! I'm gonna lose my shorts. And he's like, what? You want to go faster? So he keeps on going faster. He's looking back at me and not realizing it. he's totally not driving. You know, I mean, he's driving the boat, but he's not looking where he's going. And he ends up clutching it for the nuke. Did you guys see that? Right before the RPG got me, gets the nuke. It's been a while since I got a nuke, so that was fun. I always love getting the nukes. If you guys can show this video a little like for the nuke action. When's the last time you guys seen a nuke? Doo-doo. So anyways, he's not looking where he's going, and he ends up crashing into the pier just a little bit. It just like bumps off the pier, and everybody was okay in the matter, but and he ends up crashing the pier. Everybody's looking at him. I'm almost naked. Everybody's looking at me in the water, and it was a good time. Good old times up north. So let me know in the comments below, what should I cover next week in my next episode of High School Stories? Do you want to hear more stories about my dad, my mom? What do you want to hear about? So let me know in the comments below. I got a nuke. I will see you guys later.
Now on to the last email today from Devin. He says, "Hey Laine, recently a turn of events has left me scarred, scared, and disturbed. About a month ago, my mom started dating this British guy named Brian. He's pretty cool and likes to play video games with me, but for the past week or so, he's been making ball gag related jokes with my mom." Well, those are the best kind of jokes. For example, he would say, "We were hanging out playing Skyrim when my mom walked in. Brian starts explaining how the game works, and when he said, 'Right now I'm wearing a pendant of silence, ha 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 ha, kind of like you last week,' then winked at my mom. Another time, he passed some vegetables to my mom during dinner and said, 'Be careful not to gag, darling,' winky face. This kind of thing really freaked me out. Then the other day, I was walking by my mother's room, the door was open, and I had seen something that looked like a dog toy. We don't have a dog. A response would mean the world to me. Your Canadian beaver-loving brother, Devin." Reading this email was kind of funny because the whole time I was reading it, and I don't know why this image is in my head, is this like old bald British dude wearing like a full leather suit with a gag in his mouth and a freaking bandana covering his eyes. Honestly, Devin, you know, I wouldn't worry too much about it. The British guys do kind of like to do it weird, and I guess looking at it, you know, if he's joking about it with your mom, clearly, you know, there's something that they enjoy to do in the bedroom. You know, if they do keep bringing it up, maybe just be like, "Mom, can you guys please keep, you know, the flirty talk to yourself, because this is fucking weird for me because I am your son." But, yeah, they shouldn't be, you know, talking about it publicly. But, you know, if he makes her happy and they're having fun together, I wouldn't worry too much about it until you find, like, chains and ropes hanging from the ceiling. I think you're good, man. So, you know, best of luck on that whole situation. Thanks to all you guys for sending in the emails. You know, I'm glad to help, and hopefully, you know, you can take some of the advice I give in this series. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this episode, feel free to give this video a thumbs up because it really does help my channel out. Let me know in the comment section below, if you were Devin, what would you do if your mom was dating this crazy British guy with sex toys? Anyways, thank you guys again so much for listening. I'm the Attack, and I'm out.
I can tell a story. So anyway, I was lying in bed one night, and my idiot son here woke me up with the telephone. And then later on, I was lying there trying to go to sleep, and I heard something splashing in my toilet. And I got scared, and I got up and I went, and the lid was down, and I could hear this thing splashing in my toilet, and I thought, Jesus, there's probably an anaconda or something in there. If I open the lid, it'll squish me to death. Anyway, I finally thought it didn't sound that splashy enough. So I lifted the lid up, and there was a squirrel swimming in my toilet. But he was kind of drowning too. And then I thought, how am I going to rescue him? Because I reach in and pick him out. He'll bite me and I'll get rabies and I have to have shots. And so he was still swimming, and I ran downstairs and got a pair of tongs my son made in metalwork in grade 8, which I finally found a use for, and I grabbed the squirrel in the tongs and picked him out of the bathtub. But he was kind of exhausted. There's the toilet. And he was kind of exhausted. So I say he drowned, if you wanted to be frank about it. And I took him downstairs, and I went out on the front porch, right, with the squirrel, and I got no clothes on, and I was in bed, and I'm giving him artificial respiration on my front porch naked, and I'm thinking if my neighbors see this, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. Anyway, I gave him artificial respiration, and he sort of came back to, and then I got a box and put him in it, and I wrapped him up in blankets, and I left him outside where it was warm, and he died anyway. I was pretty annoyed at him. After all the...
Has anybody got a microphone? Anyone got a microphone? Hello? You guys got a microphone? Oh my god.
For a judge, I'll give myself an
guys
A+
were,
for my effort.
them little bitches were camping, guys. They were camping like little pussies.
Shut up.
Make
You're
me.
dick.
Make me, little bitch. You fucking camp like a bitch.
Hey man, I'll come stick my dick in your mom's ass.
You stick your dick in your dad's ass, I tell you that, you little bitch. You talk about my mom that way, motherfucker.
From your mom to your dad.
Hey, don't talk about my mom, you motherfucking Scotch tape factory, little bitch.
Dude, you just spoke for your dad.
Hey, listen,
You said,
take
"Yeah,
your
my
mom's balls
ass,
out of
my
your mouth. You
dad's
can't
ass."
understand the word you're saying, you little bitch.
You just spoke
Quit
for your dad,
stuttering.
dude. I don't think
Quit
that's
stuttering.
gay,
You
man.
can't even speak, you're stuttering. You got some funny
I don't
accent,
think
too.
your dad's gay.
Hey, you got some funny accent, too.
Stick my dick in your mom's ass. and
Hey,
you said, "Not my
listen,
mom's
listen,
ass,
you
my
little punk.
dad's
Don't
ass."
talk about my mom.
What the hell?
Don't talk about my mom.
You spoke for your dad, dude.
Don't talk about my mom. I'll tell my daddy right now, you dumbass. Dad!
Listen to your fucking dumbass,
Dad!
dude. I wish I could tape record you.
Daddy! This guy, you talk about tape
Sound
recording.
like
It's
a little
2012, you dumb. Daddy, come here for a second, will you?
Sound like a little pussy, man.
Hello? Who is this? What are you talking about, son? What are you talking about, son? Who is this? Who is this? Someone on talking?
Shut up.
What, you got a little problem, bitch? Huh? You got a problem, bitch? You got a problem with my son, motherfucker? Who's this tough guy talking? You got a problem with my son? Come on, man. You got a problem with my son, you little bitch? Son, listen, you gonna play the game. They ain't gonna fucking say nothing to you no more.
Thanks, Daddy. Thanks, Daddy. Thanks, Daddy. These guys are punks anyway. Thank you, Daddy. Daddy, you tough guy, Daddy. You punked them guys.
What's up, bitch made motherfuckers? It's your boy Wings of Redemption, and I'm back slamming a hole with a sledgehammer of fallacy. Look at that long ass fade in. I need to fix that. Well, I can't really fix it now because I talked about it. Oh well, get raped. Man, you know, some things that go along that you just can't really ignore. What are some of these things that you can't ignore? Well, you can't ignore the people that smile while they talk about irrelevant shit on TV. What is some of the irrelevant shit that they talk about on TV? You ever see those Title Max commercials? Do you guys have those Title Max commercials? Watch this, watch this, watch this. Oh, get raped. But the Title Max commercials, the black dude at the end of them, you know, it's like, you know, I really gotta. No, this is the white guy toward the beginning of the commercial. I really got to get money. I don't have to sell my car. And like the black guy at the end, like, Title Max will help you get your title back 50% less. You save money. Well, if you were any good at really saving money, you wouldn't need to go to a fucking title loan place. I'm just going to say that right now. But I got some serious shit to talk about too. I mean, I know this might sound like all fun and games right at the beginning of the video. Serious shit is abound. I don't know how many people of you actually look up gaming news on the reg. I do, because unlike Woody, I'm no good at being on the top of the game. I gotta get the news after the fact. And one of the news I seen after the fact today made me almost sick to my stomach. Everybody knows that I rage versus naked. Everybody knows that when I live stream, I get really, really upset. Everybody knows that I'm a poor sport with video games for the most part. And generally, here's the way I go with being a poor sport about a video game. If I'm really, really good at the game, or if I've really convinced myself that I'm good at the game, I'm a little bit more arrogant than most. And I get upset because I actually start realizing that some stuff might be bullshit. Alright? But I have never in my life hurt somebody over a video game. Well, I did beat up that one dude because he tried to steal a video game. But I've never actually like physically hurt or maimed anybody in real life because I was upset that something didn't go my way in a video game. And raging is one thing, being upset is one thing, you know, being upset enough to destroy something of yours is one thing, but being upset enough to beat a 3-year-old child into a month hospitalization is an entire different story. Yeah, dead serious. Check out the description of this video. I mean, you can pause it right here if you want to. This shit's fucked up. A Japanese guy beat his 3-year-old daughter into the intensive care unit. I don't know if it's in the intensive care unit, but I'm sure if you're staying a month in a hospital, there's something wrong. But because he lost a video game, and it doesn't even say what video game, but I'm only going to assume it's Modern Warfare 3 because that's the only game I can see myself beating somebody into the intensive care unit over. Mainly because it's fucking annoying. But like, just imagine this. Like, I'm playing right now. I'm playing some Fallout New Vegas here. Just little highlights of my last session. Who wants to see me walk around station to station? And, you know, I'm having a pretty good time. Fallout's a game I can play without getting mad. You know why I don't get mad at Fallout? Because I'm losing to a computer. And there's stuff that does get me frustrated. And every time I think about something that gets me frustrated, I think about the first time you face Seymour on the stupid mountain where the blue guys go. I forgot their name. I do. It's what God, I haven't forgot his name. Kamari? Whatever. Yuna's bodyguard people. Whatever the hell they are on their stupid mountain. You fight Seymour and he's like this flying crane looking thing. It almost looks like Sephiroth from the end of Final Fantasy. The one, you know, the one-winged angel thing. And that shit's fucking annoying as well. And the most annoying thing about that scene was the fact that every time you lost the battle, you had to watch a fucking 10-minute cutscene before it. It's stupid. That's what that is. But irregardless, this guy was probably upset that he lost a video game, and it was most likely a single-player game because a lot of people play multiplayer. They do. Tons and tons of people play multiplayer, but more people play single-player-based variations of games. And like Fallout, for example, was one of the reasons I picked this because it is a single-player game, and it's a game I feel that should never venture into the multiplayer realm. Not because I don't want to feel like it's an elitist or anything, but I feel like it would take away from the single-player aspects of it. Like games like Call of Duty, for example, I don't think they should go into the single-player realm because one, I really did enjoy the single-player for Modern Warfare 3, but guess what? Out of the I think 140 hours or so I've played on Modern Warfare 3, 8 of those were the single-player. I mean, it's just the Call of Duty single-players are a rip-off for the multiplayer where you get your meat and potatoes and your money at. But how do you beat a child into a hospitalization over a fucking video game, dude? Like, seriously, it's not like he hit her once either. It says in the story that he hit her multiple times across the eyes and the mouth with a rubber toy. And like, so he's basically holding this child down. He has some toy of some sort. I don't know what the toy is. It just says rubber toy. When I think of a rubber toy, I think of like an action figure, you know, like a G.I. Joe or like a Ninja Turtle action figure, even though the Aliens action figures they used to put out, and just smashing this 3-year-old girl in the face with it. And I was like, how sick of a fuck can you get? Like, I don't know the Japanese legal system at all. And I don't know how the Japanese take kindly to this. I know Japanese are all about respect and all this other stuff, but like, how can this guy? I'm not saying that he should get like the death penalty or something, but the penalty should be very severe. It shouldn't be labeled as like a regular physical assault like it probably get labeled here in America. This guy should, you know, I'm usually against mass media, pretty much, you know, putting somebody out to dry. Mass media should put this guy out to dry. I haven't seen it on any of the major networks yet. Why isn't CNN covering the story? What is your opinion on a guy beating a child over a video game? Let me know. It's been your boy Wings of Redemption. If you would like to, please do some video responses. I will be accepting them on this video. Peace.
Hey guys, it's Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and this is one of those videos that's not so much about the gameplay. Instead, I'm going to tell some stories that come from my father-in-law. So my father-in-law is a funny guy. I think he's 74 years old now, and he's been married to my mother-in-law for almost 50 years. I don't know if they had their 50-year anniversary yet, but it's right in that range now. So anyway, he tells the story of how they met, and this is a true story. There's a fake one coming up too, but the story is they met at a party, and she was, getting on in years for the time. I think she might have been 25 years old, and she still wasn't married. And, he was talking her up. Anyway, what he told her was that she was beautiful, and that, he especially valued her beauty because he hadn't seen many women lately. And I think the truth was he hadn't seen many women lately because he had just finished fighting in the Korean War. But the lie was, and the lie that he told her, was that he hadn't seen any women lately because he was fresh out of prison. And she asked him what he did, and he said that he didn't really like to talk about it. I don't know if that was just part of the scheme, or if it was because he didn't have anything to think of, or didn't know which crime that he pretended he committed. But he told her that he had just been in prison, and that, he really valued her. So she kept talking to him, and it went on, and he seemed like a normal guy and not so much like an ex-con. And to him, the story just faded away. But to her, it was always in the back of her mind. She had this notion that, this guy's been in prison. I'm not sure if it's good or bad. And then they went on a trip. And she asked him, like, hey, are you allowed to cross state lines? And he's like, what? Of course I could cross straight lines. And she's like, well, you were in jail, you're still on parole, or are you allowed to cross state lines? And that's when he let her in on it, that whole thing was completely made up, that she had never been in prison at all, and that it was just a fib that he told her. And now it's kind of funny years later. And then that's how they actually met, and she overlooked it and married him anyway. But then years and years go by, and people ask, how did you guys meet? And rather than tell that story, what he tells her is that he used to be a taxi driver in New York City. Or what he tells anybody is that he used to be a taxi driver in New York City. And that she was at a bar, and she started drinking too much, and they needed to call a cab to take her home. So the story that he tells is that, he picked her up in the cab, and that she was loose, and he followed her back into her apartment, and that it was a love at first shag, I guess you could say. So, yeah, that's my father-in-law, and he still comes up with this stuff all the time. Like he recently had I think a prostate exam, and yuck it up, kids. If you're lucky, someday you'll be 74 too. So go easy on the man. But he had a prostate exam, and he had a black eye. And the nurse is like, what's wrong? And he's like, I don't really want to talk about it. And she's like, no, how'd you get the black eye? Tell the story. And he eventually sheepishly admits that his wife beat him. And it's not at all true. So just so you know, this is a man who had, I think, like 18-inch biceps, owned a weightlifting club for a long time. He was a fireman. He's not the sort who gets beaten by his wife, I think. But yeah, that's my father-in-law. He cracks me up, and he tells stories all the time. So pretty colorful guy. So on that note, a lot of guys, like in my little circle, like my coworkers and friends and stuff like that, they they think that my wife is pretty cool, and partly because she lets me get away with stuff. I get to go on like vacations, and I have a pretty complete workshop. I actually just bought a new tool chest. The thing is like 65 inches wide and 40 inches tall, and it keeps all my mechanics tools in it, and I have a fully working wood shop. You guys have seen my man cave video, probably seen some setups of my shop, and you guys in the painkiller already, then you hear Kyle bust on me and my expensive table saw, and people are like, how do you manage that? And what I tell them is that I'm gifted in the pants, and that when you've got that going on, that you can get away with more. But that's not the truth. Well, yeah, that is the truth. But the real story is that my father-in-law kind of broke in all the girls right. My father-in-law has 4 garages filled with tools and workshops and projects, unfinished projects in his case, that he works on. And I think that, you know, when my wife sees the sort of things that I have and the, you know, sort of, you know, guy needs, I had a motorcycle for a long time. I actually had 3 different motorcycles. And I had a Honda Interceptor, a Honda Nighthawk, and a Ducati 907 IE. And people are like, you know, how do you get away with this? And I think it's, you know, look, her father had a Harley Davidson. I just kind of, you know, I got one that was broken and right. So there's a little tip. Look at your potential father-in-law and look at this guy and discover, you know, is he a beaten man? You know, is he a little bit dominated by the wife? If so, you might have a woman on your hands with the potential to be dominating. If he seems like a pretty happy guy, I can't hit anything. If he seems like a pretty happy guy, then there's a good chance that you know, your potential wife was raised right, and she's going to keep you as a happy husband. So I was so excited to get this kill streak. I called it in right on the spot. I didn't wait. I had this notion that the game was ending sooner than it was, and it turns out I had plenty of time, I think, for this chopper gunner to run its course. But anyway, that's my father-in-law. He cracks me up, and he cracks everybody up around him. Another thing he does to pick on my mother-in-law, whenever he eats pistachios, you know, the ones that are like really hard to open, or maybe the shell's not split on the pistachio whatsoever, he saves those up and he keeps them in the bag. And after a couple rounds of them, he'll have like an entire bag full of those impossible to open pistachios, and then he gives those to my mother-in-law. And you know, she has frustrating pistachios, and she has arthritis in her fingers. This might be a little bit mean, but yeah, that's what he does. So pretty funny stuff. The other thing I wanted to call out is Sam 5000's doing a new video series, and what he does is he asks other YouTube commentators these questions, like, you know, would you do this for $1 million? And typically it's some big sacrifice. And on the first episode, he had FPS Russia, Chris Trout, Only Use Me Blade, and me. And he quizzes us and asks us some questions. I'm at the very end, so I promise you I am in there somewhere, but yeah. Anyway, there'll be a link in the description to that video if you want to check it out. I thought it was pretty funny, and yeah, all the YouTube commentators, you know, they can be more or less entertaining guys. So yeah, check that video out. I think that you'll like it because there's some good stuff in there. So you know, I've got a little more time to fill in, so I think I'm going to talk about haters. And on one hand, I understand that a natural consequence of having a pretty successful YouTube channel is that you're going to gather haters. I think anyone who's actually doing something, you know, whether that be in politics or showbiz or, you know, to a much, much lesser extent, YouTube, is going to collect his share of people who don't see things the same way he does. And you know, that's okay. I kind of get that. But I will say that if you're trying to make a YouTube channel for yourself by, you know, throwing stones at other people, that's not the way to go about doing it. You know, people are looking for videos that entertain them, and you're not bringing that if all you're bringing is, you know, hate towards other guys. If you look at the most successful channels on YouTube, I don't think that you'll find a lot of the top guys who've made a name for themselves by hating on others. You know, if you look at, you know, I think the big 3 are Hutch, C-Nanners, and Tabe. These guys don't cast any hate towards other directors. You know, even if you go down the line, other really big guys, Sandy Ravage, Only Use Me Blade, Moody Swede, you know, if I'm trying to think of other guys that are bigger. There's Fuzzamuzza. These guys, you don't see them out there hating other channels. Instead, you just see them out there putting out the best content that they can. And I think there's been a trend lately to, you know, find flaws in some other commentator. Look how stupid that was. There's a flaw. I'll help you out. There's been a trend lately to find flaws in other commentators and then just talk about them and nag on them. And that's not the key to success. You know, the biggest, what I'll call villain channels in YouTube, they're not that big, you know, not that big compared to the channels that the good guys have. So, you know, look at yourself and ask yourself, you know, hey, am I a good guy or am I one of the villains? And if you're one of the villains, then you're going to find yourself pretty limited. So that's some advice to you guys. Have a nice day, and I hope that you enjoyed the video.
Yeah, it's Redneck. Oh my God, people! Got a little quick Domination game on the show for you. It's like a 202-5 final score. That is, you know, game score, not KD. KD's like a 22-2, running around like a madman, lightweight, slide hand marathon with a dual mag 74U. I know, with Fucking T.I. Let's go ham. Yeah, it's been a rough week. Some of you have been keeping up with me on Twitter and obviously through videos off of YouTube. No, me and my dad's had a rough time. Look at this kid. Look at that. Ghost Pro. Second chance for just hiding in the corner. Whatever. But, had a rough week. I mean, you know, I'm going to go ahead and spill the beans. Change the subject right quick. Some of you might have heard I was giving them a partnership through Machinima, which I'd love to thank them at this time. Machinima Respawn. See, countless other peoples. I'll try to name a few of them. Fisticuffs, WingsofRedemption, WoodysGamertag, and several other guys. Just lots of guys, you know. A lot of guys that are like me and like making videos and enjoy playing the video games. You know, I'm an old guy, but I enjoy the crap out of it. I'm not gonna lie. But it's been a crazy week, you know. There, what am I? I don't know. It's disgusting. Ghost everywhere. Can't even knife a window. I'm so pissed off. It's been a rough week. The gameplays, you know, they've been a little tougher to come by. I ain't really played that much lately. I played a little bit tonight and got some pretty amazing scores. I'm surprised I did as well as I did, but you know what? I'll take it. I'm going to talk a little bit about my father. He's having a hard time. They haven't really diagnosed him yet, but with pancreatic cancer, but they haven't been able to do a biopsy of his pancreas. I mean, it's so much other stuff going on. They're trying to keep him stable. They had to do an operation Monday that saved his life, or he would have bled to death. And then, you know, there's lots of other procedures. One I can't even talk. I apologize, guys. Well, one went on today, a little procedure, and they wasn't able to finish it because of the condition of his internal organs. So they had to cut it off short. And they got one planned for tomorrow, which would actually be Friday. About the time you watch this video, I think they're gonna cancel it. And as of right now, he's got really one choice, and the choice is a thing called the Whipple procedure. It's basically used for pancreatic cancer patients. And what they do is they basically go in, remove any and all the pancreas that's needed to be removed, part of the spleen, part of the small intestine. They kind of just rig it up, so to speak. Excuse me. They kind of just rig it up so that, you know, everything's connected, so it kind of functions normal, but then again it don't. But it's a drastic surgery, and used to a lot of people died from it. You know, if you had 10 people that did the surgery, 2 or 3 of them was gonna die. It's just the way it was. The times are better now. Medicine's better. Internal medicine, surgery. They got almost have it down to, you know, a complete science what to do and when. But there's no guarantee, you know. I mean, even with the surgery, the mortality rates with pancreatic cancer are really, really bad. You know, the doctor's 99% sure that's what it is. So I mean, we'll see. You know, we all gonna die. It's no big deal about that. It's just, you know, he's fairly young, really young. You know, in my opinion, 60 years old. I mean, he's a hell of a man. I mean, he's ran marathons and road races. I mean, for years he ran road races and marathons. I mean, he's got all kind of certificates and plaques and T-shirts. Just, you know, a lot of y'all know about the bike ride across the country. Very, very active man. You know, just fucking legit. You know, and just to see something like this, you know, of all things, you think, well, how am I gonna die? You know, this is completely out of the blue, and nobody's seen it coming. You know, but he's strong. I think he's stronger than I am, to tell you the truth. You know, mentally wise. I mean, I'm a lot stronger, you know, physically, but mentally, I think he's a very strong man. You know, today he was worried about me and my mom. He was worried about everybody but himself today, and it's kind of that selfishness, you know, of, you know, not being selfish, but the unselfishness. It's just amazing. So anyways, I'm not going to dwell on anything bad. You know, life is good, and we don't live strong and try hard in real life for him. You know, and he's going to try real hard too. But anyways, I just wanted to give everybody a quick shout out, mainly to the guys that are watching this video. You know, because if you don't watch it, you know, you don't lick it. You know, it's all for naught. You know, it's pointless. If people don't want to watch my videos and don't, you know, ain't interested by what I do, how I sound, how I act, what I play, and how I play, there's no point in it. So I'm lucky enough to say, you know, I appreciate it. It means a lot to me, and I'm gonna step my game up, guys. I'm gonna try to bring you a better quality video and a more frequency. And I appreciate the prayers. It's your boy Redneck. Peace.
Yeah, it's Redneck. Boom, son. Get right there. GG no re. Get the D. Anyways, guys, just want to give you a quick video. This is the Chrome Dome. And it's not completely, as you can see, a little bit of grind with the, you know, with the trimmer as close as I can. I told my dad, he's like, son, you're stupid. So we'll see. No big deal. The surgery's going on this week. He's got a lot on his mind. You know, financially, they'll be fine. They won't have no trouble. But sometimes it's not about money. I mean, life is more important than money. And some people don't understand that. When you have money, enough money. I mean, what's truly enough money? But when you have enough money that you're not worried about material things, and you got stuff in line, in order, with your finances, retirement, 401k, that kind of stuff. You know, you prepare your whole life for the day you can just quit. You know, work off what you made yourself, you know, through your working career. He's got all the right things. One hell of a guy. He's not worried about money. My mom's not worried about money. They have enough. They're worried about health, and they're worried about everybody else but themselves. It's stressful for him. If you're younger, I'm 34, but if you're a younger guy and you're wondering, you know, there's opportunities in life you get to tell somebody that you love them, to tell somebody that how much you care about them. Make sure you do it, because there's been times that I didn't do that with other family members. I didn't take the time to call. You know, like, nowadays we're so connected, social media. We can do the same as a family. You know, you can sit there and be like, yo, you know, call them, text them. Most people's parents have phones. They text better than most kids do. Text them, email them. Tell people that, you know, the loved ones that you truly love them. There's nothing shameful about it. Okay? There's nothing in the world. If your friends think you're stupid for telling your dad you love them, give them a big fuck you. They're not your friends. If they don't respect the fact you take the time to talk to your parents, brother, sister, whatever, fuck them. Okay? That's all it is. All you got in this world is family. Most of you know that, especially the ones who have lost family. You know that too. You really know that too. So, I appreciate the support. I think the video's been live maybe 6-7 hours as of right now. The first video with all the domes, Week Pro. So 700-800 likes. I'm amazed. I appreciate it. I'm gonna post some gameplay here probably tonight or in the morning after this video goes up. Just show you some spaz play. Yeah, it's Redneck with the bald head, son. Kit on. Woo! Ha! Yeah, it's Redneck. Oh my God, people. Woo! Well, here it is.
Yeah, it's Redneck. And I got
Papa Redneck.
there he is, right on point, Papa Redneck. What would you say if I called you a tryhard?
Well, I would be I'd be pleased with that.
I would be pleased with that too.
Yeah.
That seems like flattery, don't it?
Well, it is. It's saying that somebody else noticed that you're trying hard.
Yeah. Or it could say that somebody else notices that you're better than they are. And they can't stand it, so they don't make fun of you.
Well, they say imitation is the best flattery.
Imitation.
Yeah.
To emulate, to imitate somebody.
Yeah, whatever that word is, I think that's a good word, but
yeah,
you know, in the Red Dictionary, it's in there somewhere.
You just said the Red Dictionary.
Oh no! Al, maybe we should cut that part out.
Well, I swear you said that. We'll go with it.
I picked up a wheel slip.
Yeah, I know what's on your mind, man. Woo, talk about trying hard. There we go.
Well, you said hard.
Don't be no try soft, do you?
Yeah, you might as well not do it if you're going to do it soft.
No, you can't do nothing soft.
You can't push nothing with a rope.
Oh, yeah, you got that right. A limp noodle.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there's a term in the gaming community, you know, and it kind of transfers over in the real life, which is obviously way more important, but it's called, I hear people I get called a tryhard all the time, and I'm like, dude, I wasn't even trying. And you feel people like, you're trying your ass off. I'm like, well, you might have been trying your ass off, but there's different levels of trying. What might be trying hard for somebody is might not be trying very hard at all for somebody else.
That's right.
You know, it's like me playing basketball against Michael Jordan. You know, I've been trying my ass off, and he'd be laughing the whole time, not even trying. You know, and that goes with anything in life. I look at it like, if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna take it serious. I don't like to lose. I don't like to come in last. You know what I mean?
Well, there's no trophy for 4th and 5th, 6th place, is it?
No, I've never got one. The times I came in those places and made my mind up that never again.
Now, 4th, 5th, or 6th place is the best you can do, and you know that you did all you could do.
Yeah.
And you have to be pleased with yourself and just say, I'm going to try a little harder next time, do a little better.
Yeah.
But, like you say, most successful people are focused people at whatever they're doing.
Yeah. Well, we all have our limits. And some people's limits are lower than others. But, like you said, as long as you're trying to perform to your maximum limit or to the best of your ability, that's fine. You know?
Well, that's the thing. You know, years ago well, not so many years ago, but back when I was doing a lot of races and biathlons, triathlons, stuff like that, I never did really worry about what place I would come in because it didn't matter. It was doing your own personal best and not measuring yourself against other people's performance, but against your performance.
Yeah.
And some days you would not do as good as you knew you could do or thought you could do. And even on days when I did well, I would never be completely satisfied with the way I did because there was always room to improve.
Yeah.
So you have to stay focused in order to do that.
I agree. 100%. Let's see. You know, we're talking about health and, you know, you had a lot going on. You do it for a couple more procedures and and some chemo and some radiations. I think you said starting on the 10th of October is when the chemo and the radiation start. So you'll move right on through that and then have another surgery a couple months after that. But you're going to be trying hard at that. I know you will.
That's the thing. There's no options.
Yeah.
This is not I'll try a little bit. No, this is no second place in this game.
Yeah.
We're going to have a procedure Thursday where they go down in there and grab a hold of one end of this drain and cut the other end off and pull it into my intestine.
Yeah.
And that's going to relieve some problems. And then start the chemo on the 10th.
Yeah.
And that's going to have a whole set of other little goodies that go along with it. But, you know, there's no straight lines in this journey.
No.
No, there's no easy pavement. It's all a rough road, but, you know, good Lord's not going to give us anything we can't stand.
Yeah, that's right. So, let's see. We got that talked about. Now, and a lot of people, they sent in a lot of Twitter questions today, and I promised I'd get a couple of them in. And one of them was, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, man.
That was submitted. That was submitted by Brian R73.
That's a good question. There's so many good ones out there, you know, but I guess my favorite of all time is Cool Hand Luke.
Cool Hand Luke.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a good old Western right there.
No. Cool, you know, Cool Hand Luke is that one where the poor fella's, well, he's just a great character on there. What, Paul Newman, right?
Yeah, Paul Newman. I think that was him.
They keep telling him, he says, son, you got to get your head right.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I'm shaking it, boss. I'm shaking it. So I love that part in the movie where he's shaking the bush, you know, and the guy's standing there with a shotgun and says, shake the bush, you know, shake it. He says, I'm shaking it, boss. The whole time he was making his getaway.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. How much do you bench? I don't know if that's at me or you.
Oh, man. I sit on the bench a lot.
I'm assuming that's for you, but I know I bench enough. So.
Well, I think you bench all your weight and then whatever couple of dogs you can find to lay across there, too.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, but I know I can't spot you. Ain't no way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of people know I'm working on, I said bodybuilding. I want to, you know, have a little try at bodybuilding when I'm 40. And, you know, and in my mind, the way I'm going this route, I got quite a few more years. But I'm going to use these next 3 and 4 years to put on as much mass muscle as I can. And then, you know, as I get closer to the last year or two, I'm going to start doing, you know, I'm doing some now, but a little more cardio, a little bit more, you know, conditioning part of it. You know, because right now I think I stand about 6 foot, 220. So, and usually bodybuilders in general are usually the ones that do anything are a lot shorter than 6 foot. So we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I stand about 6 foot when I'm standing on a Coca-Cola crate.
You ain't that sure. What was it you said one time? As you get older, you start compressing?
You do. And, you know, when I was a kid, they worked me so hard toting heavy loads, my arms got long and my body never did get to stretch out. So my backbone is really, you know, my whole body should be a lot taller because my wingspread is a lot longer than I am tall.
Yeah.
But, you know, I think I told you, the year I turned 40, I was in the best shape of my life.
Yeah.
And even then, doing races and stuff against people that were older than me, there were 60-year-olds running them races and stuff that would breeze right by me.
Yeah. Those are tryhards, and that's good.
Yes, sir.
That's a good thing. I mean, because if you can do that when you're 60, just think how much better quality of life you don't have when you're 70 or 80 or 90 or 100. You know?
Well, believe it or not, that's what the doctors were saying when I was in the hospital. They couldn't understand why my heart rate was so low.
Yeah, strong
and they kept
heart.
trying to figure it out. And finally one of them said, were you some kind of a runner or something? I said, well, yeah, I've run distance all my life ever since I was a teenager until I was 50. And they said, well, that explains it. You got that heart from the cardiovascular working out for all your life.
Yeah.
So
And
it has its good points.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see what else. There was another question I seen I'd want to ask, but so in your opinion,
yeah,
there ain't nothing wrong with being a tryhard.
No. Because you know what? If you don't try hard at something, whether it's something you like, sometimes you have to try hard at something you don't like.
Yeah.
Most of us don't have a job that's also our favorite pastime, but we still got to try hard. You know, almost every day I went to work, I had to try to keep my job. And there's not many jobs that fall into your lap and you just are locked into it. It's just like playing football. I remember at school, we had to earn our position every week before the game.
Yeah.
Anybody on the team could go out for your position anytime they said, hey, I want to try out, and you had to defend your position or you didn't start that week. Some weeks you had 2 guys, some weeks 3 guys go against you. And you know the only reason I was a starting left end on offense?
Why is that?
I wasn't the tallest one, even though I was tall for my age, and I wasn't the toughest one by any means. But I found out if I was going to be a starting left end, found out I could catch the ball, but a lot of guys could catch it, but when they got hit, they'd hear them footsteps coming and they'd drop the ball. Well, I made up my mind I'm going to have to learn how to take a hit, especially when you go up for a ball. And the coaches like that.
Yeah.
Of course, I got rattled up a lot, and I guess that's why I'm still goofy. But I learned to go up and get the ball and be ready to take the hit.
Yeah.
And coaches would keep me in, and they put me in because they'd know if I got my hands on the ball and could hold it, I'd take the hit.
Now that kind of goes along with what the gameplay they're watching now is a gameplay that is my point of view from a video we did a Dual Comm with Brian R73 in a game. We was losing, we was getting beat bad, and right in here somewhere toward the middle of the end, I just put my try-hard pants on with my big jock strap, and I get after it. Yeah, big jock strap.
That's scary.
And I get after it. I'm not losing. Bullshit. So, and one of the things that one of my coaches told me one time, he said, the only saving grace that allows you to play all that you play is because you're the meanest little shit on the team.
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to be, because I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the fastest, or I wasn't the strongest, but mentally, when I put them pads on, I'm like, all right, whose ass is getting kicked first up? That's just my, and that's how my youngest son is. The baby, the 8-year-old, he's that way. Because, he came into life, he had a bunch of health problems, y'all remember?
Yes, indeed.
He's a fighter, and he's fought through a bunch. And to watch him play football at 8 years old, and he's got one more year left in the same age group. And I just can't wait, because Saturday he had like 6 tackles in a row, like 12 tackles and a half. It was just ridiculous. And but his mentality is like mine. When he's going, he is going hard, and he's going to try to dominate you. And
there's no quit in that boy.
And it's just, to me, I don't know about you, I don't enjoy things as much when I don't feel like I'm putting out the way I should.
Oh, yeah. If you know you've done your best at something, and there's still maybe a little room for improvement, never be totally satisfied, never get complacent with your performance. It's a good feeling to know you've done pretty good at what you was trying to do. Did your best.
I'm going to tell y'all something. If y'all ever went and seen Papa Redneck's place, the house, the yard, first thing you would say is, oh my God, this guy spends a lot of time working in the yard. Holy crap. Because I've been to places like Callaway Gardens in Georgia, and their level of landscaping, and to me, is not on your level. Because you talk about going the extra mile or giving it all you got. Papa Redneck is that way. So it's just it's amazing.
I appreciate that. But how long do you think it took me to build that wall back there behind the house?
And for those of y'all who don't know, he built a wall in the side of a hill. He dug a whole side of a mountain out and laid these big old heavy, some of you are familiar with railroad cross ties, those big old heavy timbers.
Yeah,
I'm talking about new ones. Yeah, bridge timbers, the big long 12-footers, I think it was, or 8-footers.
Yeah, some were 14, 12, 8. Yeah.
And this wall, I'm telling you, if there ever was to come like a 4,000-year flood, everything else would be gone, but that wall would still be there. I'm not even kidding. It'll survive the rapture. I mean, whatever. So.
Well, it's just the way it was done, I guess, because a lot of those were not brand new, but you cut the ends of them off where they fit real good, and you do it on a bed of gravel, and you drill holes in them and spike them together, and you put rebar through them, you know, down into the ground, and you set them back on an angle. Then you put gravel behind them, all the way up. And it took me about 1.5 years to do that, just a few at a time, here and there, you know, just with hand tools. But I never gave up on it, you know. You just have to do a little at a time.
Right.
And keep at it.
Well, that's what we don't do, guys. We don't never give up. We hope you like the little part about the tryhards, and maybe it'll inspire you to, when you get up in the morning, is to try your best at whatever it is you do.
Yeah.
In all things that you do. So for Papa Redneck,
that'd be me.
I'm gonna wrap us up. It's your boy Redneck. Peace.
All right.
Hang on, let me hit stop.
Hello.
Hey.
Hey. What's going on?
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm piddling around here with an old tune called Freebird.
All right, let's hear it. Jam it.
I'm working on it, but well, okay, you won't recognize it, but here it goes.